Good morning, friends. So a lot of times I just talk to you about what we're doing, but today I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about actually what has to be done. So when we do the travel trailer thing, we often don't stay where there are full hookups. We usually stay where we have maybe electricity and water. I don't boondock a whole lot, so that's not really a thing for us, but we don't often have hookup for the sewer. And so this time we are in a spot where we have that. And I thought it would be kind of interesting for some of you who maybe are considering this lifestyle to see what it looks like to dump the tanks and what all of the hookups look like as far as the electricity and the water and all of the kinds of things that we do. So I will turn the camera around and you guys can kind of see what this looks like. This is actually our electrical hookup right here where that hooks in, and then down here we have where the tanks are hooked up, and we're on a little bit of an there's kind of a, it's not flat, so we have the sewer hooked up with a little thing that holds it, the little plastic thing down there, and then it just hooks up into here. And I'm going to walk over before I dump the tanks. I'll show you what the rest of it looks like. Over here we have the post where the water is hooked up, which we hook into, and ours is currently dripping and leaking, but we have ours hooked up with a outside filter. And I do that because even though we filter the water that we drink inside, this is still for washing our hands and for taking showers and all of that sort of thing. And I have turned the water on and had it run with rust, and it's pretty gross in some places. So we use the filter on top of the water filter that we use inside that we drink out of. And we have, if you want to fill the tank, so if you're going to boondock, you would fill the tank down here. And if you were hooked up to city water, you're just hooked up to this or to the water thing here. And then we also have a pressure gauge that keeps the water pressure, which I'm not going to show you, but anyway, down here, then we have, this is the thing that is a surge protector for the electricity for the trailer, and it is always on because sometimes the power is not reliable. This is 30 amp only in this particular spot, some have 50 amp. Some of the electricity in some sites is not super reliable. We've only lost power once in a campground, which is pretty awesome, I think, considering the amount of time we've spent. However, this protects it so that all your equipment that's electrical doesn't get fried if you have a surge, and that is apparently a thing for some campgrounds, although we haven't had any trouble. And then when we do dump the tanks, what you want to do first is to dump the black water tank, and everything's muddy out here. It's super muddy, but you have one that's black, and then this is your gray water. And so the black water is the one that comes from the toilet, and the gray water is the one that comes from everything else, so the sinks and the shower. And you want to do the black water first, and you pull it. Here, emptying. This is not the most fun job. It is a job that has to be done. And so then that will all empty out. And when it's completely finished and is no longer running, I will go ahead and go in and I will turn the water on in the toilet, and I will run water into the tank. So I'll go back, close the valve out here when it's empty. So I'll push that back in again, and then I'll run a bunch of water through the toilet, and then open it outside one more time so it rinses the tank a little bit. And I just feel like that keeps it cleaner. And then I add some thieves cleaner and sometimes a little bit of the I have a thieves dishwasher powder, which sounds weird, but it's got enzymes in it, and so that will help break down stuff in the tank. And that keeps things smelling good and keeps it all clean and whatever. Or clean-ish, as clean-ish as you can. Since we've been here, I'm really only having to dump the tank once a week, which is pretty good, considering there are 4 of us living in the trailer all the time. Okie doke, so I went inside, added some water, and now I'm gonna open the valve again, and you can hear the water running out. And when it's done rinsing this time, I'll open the gray water tank, and that rinses the hose. And so that's basically emptying the tanks. And when we are stationary like this and we're just hooked up to water, we don't fill the water tank or anything. We just run it from the water hose. And it's starting to get cold, so I probably need to consider getting a heated hose, because I do think we will have some freezing days this winter. And it would be safer to have the heated hose, I think. So when we get done with that, then we just open up the gray water tank. I leave the gray water tank open all the time except the day that I'm going to empty the tanks. And I close that in the morning so that there's some water in the gray water tank to rinse the hose with after I get done with the black water tank. And so most of the time it's just open, and that means that we can take showers and do dishes and all of the things without having to worry about how much water is in the tank and whether it gets overfull, because it will fill really quickly if you start taking showers. However, when we're hooked up like this, we can just go ahead and do the hose hookup so that we don't have to worry about it. And it's almost empty, and then I'm going to go open the gray water tank, and then I'll flip you around and I'll talk to you again. Okay, so that one's empty now. I'm going to go back, I'm going to close it and open the gray water tank. And there won't be a lot in it just because we have only had it closed this morning. And so then that just rinses the hose. That's it, because gray water is just your showers and stuff. So I bet y'all excited to go out and empty your tanks now. I know, it's funny. It's just one of those mundane things that you have to do when you are living in your travel trailer. And when you live in a house, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. It's all just hooked up for you, and you flush the toilet and it's gone. Anyway, I thought that was funny. I've seen lots of videos which are kind of funny, where people have tried to empty their black water tank and have had a boo-boo. We did have one little time when it wasn't connected well, and of course we don't walk away from it or like open it and then step back. We open it carefully to make sure that when we are dumping it into like a portable tank, so when we are stationary somewhere long enough that we need to empty the tank, but we are not hooked up, we have a little portable tank that we use. And so we're very careful when we hook that up, because we did have an accident once where it wasn't sealed completely and a little of it leaked out, and that's really gross. So we're super careful about when we do that now. And that little tank hooks to the back of the truck, to the ball hitch. I have a little metal thing that hooks it up, and we just haul it down, and there's a dump station down here. So that is dumping the tanks. I bet you're super excited about that. Today is another beautiful day today, and so I think we will probably spend a little time on the beach as per usual when the day is sunny. I hope you guys have a great day and you enjoyed some of this weird and gross information.